Now, I'm gonna start this video off by saying I don't care if anybody watches this. This is the type of videos I really don't care that get views, because I don't do this for views. I do this strictly for my peace and my mental health and me to feel better about myself and just getting it off my chest. So feel free to skip over this one and go check out my other ones, more positive, motivational, those ones. But this one is strictly just to get it off my chest. I'm in my 30s, starting over in my 30s, and I'm failing. At least that's how I feel. I feel like once you're in your 30s, you should have it somewhat figured out, somewhat together. I know nobody really has it together. Nobody really knows what this life thing is about, and nobody would ever really truly figure it out. But you should have it somewhat together. You should be somewhat stable by the time you're in your 30s. And I've been just thinking about the decisions I've made over the last 10 years, and life is about decisions. Every day you wake up, you make a decision. And those decisions compound over the years. One decision didn't lead up to where you're at right now. It's years and years and years of decisions that led up to the point where you're at right now. And in a way, I don't regret it because it made me who I am. But at the same time, I'm wondering, did I make the right decisions? Did I take the right path? In my early 20s, all I did was work for people. And mainly jobs I didn't really like. And it was fine because, like I said, I needed the money. The money was cool and it was sustaining me. It wasn't until I was about 25 I decided, man, you know what? I don't want to work for somebody for the rest of my life. I don't want to do that for the rest of my life. I don't want to be stuck at a job for the rest of my life because I have to, or else, something bad will happen. So at 25 years old, I decided, you know what? I'm gonna try to take life into my own hands. I could have continued just working and just stacking my money, even with jobs, because everybody works jobs they don't like. So I'm not special. So what makes me special to think, I could say, forget this job, I'm gonna go do my own thing and I'm gonna be successful. And that was kind of naive of me to think that way, because to think that it could just happen to me just because I want it to happen or I believe it could happen. But anyway, so at 25, I decided to, just try to do my own thing. I didn't really have no options to make a way for myself, no real opportunities. So I turned to the internet and I started making content. By the way, this is my second channel. My first channel, you can see I've been on this for years and years and years and years and years. So I started making content. I don't even know what I was doing, to be honest. I just started doing stuff just to see what sticks. You ever heard of someone who just throwing shit at the wall or just see what? I just was doing that just to see what sticks and see what works for me. So I started doing content. I started doing fitness. Then I started doing comedy. Then I switched over to TikTok and I started doing that, and I was somewhat successful over there. But I didn't want that. TikTok didn't bring no sustainability for me. Like, everything was like a 15 minutes of fame type thing. Like, it wasn't like a real foundation for me. And I came back to YouTube, because YouTube is really where the love of content creation started. So I came back to YouTube to try to do my thing here. YouTube is a lot harder, by the way. It's way harder than all the other social media platforms, because you actually have to build yourself from scratch. TikTok, you don't even need followers. You can post a video and just get a million views. So, but those views don't really mean nothing, to be honest with you. But anyway, so yeah, like, I started doing content, and I spent the next 6 years doing content between YouTube and TikTok. and it didn't really get anywhere. Yeah, I got a few thousand followers. I got like almost 2 million views overall on my first YouTube channel alone, and a couple million views on my TikTok. But it didn't. Yeah, I'm appreciate the progress I made, but I still really didn't feel like I got anywhere. Now I'm thinking, was starting to do content creation a whole waste of my time when I could have been working, saving, or putting a down payment on a house, or something better than recording myself on the phone, making jokes, or doing fitness or whatever. But anyway, so now I'm 31, thinking that should I continue doing content, or should I just, go back to, or just forget the content on it, just forget the content and just go back to being normal, or being what society considers normal, and just working, saving your money, and maybe possibly starting a family, because that's how the world was. But before social media, that was your only option, to work, save your money, find a wife, have kids, and repeat the cycle. But since the world has changed so much, and they put new opportunities in front of our faces every day, I decided to take a chance on this opportunity of social media content creation. Not because I dreamed of being a content creator. I didn't dream of being it. It just kind of sort of just fell into my lap. Because I didn't really have no other options. I didn't really know what else to do. So it just kind of fell into my lap. But now, like I said, I'm just thinking about my life choices, and did I make the right decision and all that stuff. But I do feel like I'm failing, because nobody wants to be around someone who's still figuring it out at 30 years old. Nobody really wants to do that. Who's still figuring it out, who still doesn't really know what he wants to do, who still doesn't really have a concrete career path. But hey, that's me, and that's my life. So, like I say, it is what it is. I just gotta figure it out and do the best I can. I can't go back in time. I can't change nothing. All I could do is deal with the present. I can't even worry about the future. Just deal with the present and do the best I can. But yeah, that's really all I wanted to say. Because like I said, I just wanted to get it off my chest, because I don't really have no one to talk to in my personal life about these personal situations in my life, because I don't really like get on too much deep of a level on personal situations with people in my life, because I don't want to come off as weak or vulnerable. But on here, I don't really have no problem with it, because I don't really have no problem with it. I don't know why. But anyhow, yeah, that's all I pretty much wanted to say. And yeah, if you made it this far, thank you. If you didn't, thank you. Thank you also. Because you didn't get to see me, bitch and cry for however long this video will be. But yeah, thank you. And yeah, that's about it. So I'm gonna see y'all again. Peace.